we start with the wrestling talk, we need to do a public service announcement from Matt, Rhodesia, and Eshaun, the good folks at the TFW, That's Freakin' Wrestling podcast. If you are out in public and you feel yourself needing to sneeze, needing to cough, needing to do anything that is going to get bodily fluids out of your body and potentially into the air and onto other people, can you please make that healthy decision to not do that and sneeze in your elbow, worst case in your hand, or cough in your hand or in your elbow, so you do not get people sick. Most importantly, the three of us, we all sick. Typically, I say like, hey, 3 to Haraway. This is like, Rhodesia, what's Spanish for like sickly folks? What you got for me?
Oh no, don't know. What's sick? ¿Cómo se dice sick in español? No sé.
Rhodesia's been working on her Spanish and she got to keep going. Eshaun, how would you say?
No bueno. How about that? Hold on.
Okay.
No bueno.
How would you say in Georgia slang? Don't get nobody else sick around you.
Y'all don't get nobody else sick.
That's like Alabama circa 1920. Yes, we are all under the weather, fighting headaches and body aches and all that kind of good stuff. But I just had to put that public service announcement out there. Do not worry, the content is still going to be fire. You came here to listen to us talk and rant about wrestling, and I'll be damned if that is not what you're going to get to the same level, if not more.
I'm so hyped. Let's go
on this podcast, episode 105, right?
Wow,
is that where we at now? 105? I think we're 105. Yeah. 105. That's Freakin' Wrestling. Like I said, I'm your host Matt, joined by my two co-hosts right here. Eshaun right there. Rhodesia is right there. Had a fantastic Royal Rumble live post show. Thank you for everybody that watched us on X, checked out the YouTube, checked out the podcast. We appreciate you guys, of course. We were gone all last week, Rhodesia and I anyway. We were on vacation, and that's where we got sick, in the airport. And so we didn't get a chance to talk about really any of the breaking news that came out. There was a lot. So we're going to start. We got to start, of course, serious and talk about the Vince McMahon and stuff. We would not be doing our due diligence as having a platform if we did not speak on it. I think more people need to speak on it respectfully and I don't want to say professionally, but respectfully, right, of what's going on. Also want to, of course, hit on the Netflix deal. That's a major, massive deal. I'm not sure how big of a deal it was outside of X. I was able just to see a little bit last week, but this is, of course, the first time we've all been able to talk about it. So let's start with the Vince McMahon piece. And we have, chronicalized this since it started, really. It kind of mirrored our podcast when we kind of started our podcast when this came out. Hit that January, I believe it was, or whatever it was. But a disgusting lawsuit, affidavit, whatever you want to call it, came out last week. I still have not read the entire, I think it's 46-page document. I don't plan on reading it. Did either of you two read the entire document?
Nope, I have it up in front of me, but I have not had a chance to look at it.
No, I've heard snippets here and there.
Yep. Enough to know what we need to know, right? There is not like there's something in there that is going to counteract what we've heard from these text messages that we saw, from just the things that Vince McMahon is alleged to be done. And I know in this country and in the world, it should be innocent till proven guilty. I think this one's a little bit different because we know there are more allegations out there. There are more women that were paid off for their issues, more NDAs out there. I guess really what I want to get to, because you guys all know, probably a lot of the stuff that's in there. What I want to get to, though, is when we were recording the Royal Rumble post show, the Royal Rumble press conference was going on at the same time. And I made a comment because I looked on Twitter and Triple H had said that he hadn't seen the lawsuit yet or the paperwork on it. And that was all I was able to kind of see until Sunday morning when I watched the entire press conference. I want to get into the comments or lack of comments from Triple H on this. He basically kind of said, Let's not focus on the bad. Let's focus on the good. Kind of like a no comment, but it wasn't a no comment. And then we kind of moved on. And, I shouted out our guy Cam on Twitter, John Alba, Brandon Thurston, and there's one more. Who's the one that started the whole Punk fiasco at Brawl Out?
Nick.
Yeah.
House.
Houseman. I shouted them out because that is, the wrestling community gives the wrestling media a ton of crap when it's convenient. And there was a lot going into the weekend of, hey, if you're in that room, you better ask. And my thought is, that there's a responsibility there if you consider yourself wrestling media to ask the questions. And there is no way someone should have not asked the question. But shout out to those guys because they did. But the answer that Triple H gave to those questions, I felt severely lacked the temperature check. I felt it severely lacked detail. And no, I don't expect Triple H, and then I'll throw it to you guys. I don't expect Triple H to go out there and say, yep, man, yeah, that old guy, he was dirty, wasn't he? Like, I can't believe he did that, but hey, it's all good now. He's never going to touch this product again. I'm running things, and we're good to go, but he's a piece of crap. No, I don't expect that. But what I do expect is since he's taken over, everything has been up. Skittles, rainbows, teddy bears, the fluffiest pillows you can get. Business is up, ratings is up, revenue is up. Every single time we're doing press conferences, we're lauding and talking about, hey, this is the most money we've done in this market in history. This is hot, great show, incredible show, best show ever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the first time we have an issue, albeit the biggest issue in wrestling since Chris Benoit, in terms of a tragedy, in terms of a black eye in this business, you can't come out and say what he said, because the things that how they articulate those questions, you can answer those questions. If it was a blanket question of, hey, Paul, just tell us how Vince McMahon was doing these women dirty. And then okay, you can get it. They were tactful. I thought the questions were fantastic, and he still skated around it. What was your guys' thoughts on Triple H and how he responded? And then if you agree, tell me why you agree. And if you don't agree, what would you have liked to have heard from Triple H?
This one kind of troubles me because I just want to make sure what I say here, I truly articulate how I feel inside. The responses he gave, I expected it. I also expected that he would have been a little bit more prepared to give a more satisfying response. The third or the final question came up about, well, what are you doing to protect people? And he said, short answer, everything. Did that satisfy me a bit? Yes, it did. The part that I juggle with is, even back in the NXT days, after he would have his takeover press conferences, he had pretty much everything was on the table. He would answer any question, full transparency, to the point, didn't beat around the bush. So that did let me down, because I've turned to H whenever he spoke, that I'm like, okay, this is how he feels, and he's going to always be real and honest with us. Now, if it has something to do with new management, meaning TKO, and what he can and can't say about something, so be it. I saw somebody on Twitter saying, well, would it made it any better if he said, I can't speak on that? I don't know. That probably would have made me even more mad. But I'm kind of in this, I'm giving him a pass just because of his past history. And that's why I said maybe it is a bit part of tribalism for me, because I am giving him a little bit of that pass. If he said that he didn't read the document, I have to take the man at his word that he didn't read the document. So yes, I was upset that he didn't address it a little bit more direct, a little bit more of, yeah, this is what I heard. This is what they're looking into. I'm glad we got that presence out of our company. Company doesn't need this, because he could have absolutely said, hey, we're focusing on what just happened today, a great Royal Rumble, great people. And we're not going to let that badness affect our business anymore, because this is how we're moving forward. But in a way where, hey, the people who were hurt by Vince McMahon can say, all right, well, the WWE is not taking sides with him, or not standing by his side, or not condoning it. Again, I don't expect him to say he's a dirty dog. You just can't do that. So for me, I'm kind of just in mixed emotions on how I feel about it, because I do believe he was wrong by not being more direct in his response. But I expected it, and I don't want to say I understand it. I don't want to say I get it, but probably the closest would be to I get that response. Now, I would like to hear more of an official response as more time has gone on. But in that moment, you kind of, I can't sit up here and say with AEW, you had Brawl Out, and I'm not comparing. So please be clear. I'm not comparing what happened in Brawl Out to people sex trafficking people at all. But the concept of something really good just happened. Let's kind of just live in this moment for just a moment, and then we'll get back to that. I can't be that one way with AEW and then flip the script over here for WWE. Again, not comparing it, just saying just the concept of it. But I kind of just talked in circles. Hopefully I articulated it. I wish we would have got a little bit more direct response from Triple H. We did not get that, and I kind of get it and understand it, but I would expect in the future to hear something a little bit more what he did was wrong.
I think anybody listening to his words felt like he didn't go about it the right way. We've got on Tony Khan in the past, regards to different situations of him not handling or skirting around the issues. And again, I'm not the leader of a big company, so I don't know what you can and can't say, but a different perspective for him, this might hit home a little bit harder for him, right? This is his father-in-law. This is somebody that is a mentor to him, someone he's known for years, right? And maybe some of these allegations have blindsided him. I don't see how they would have. I think that he probably knew some of these things were coming, but it's coming from family. It's an emotional for him. So he may not be able to react like he normally would in other circumstances because it is hitting home, right? He doesn't want to talk about his dad and go down the whole allegation and go down that rabbit hole. So maybe that's had something to do with it, I would assume. I'm not going to, I don't want to say that's what we're doing here, but I'm not going to beat the dead horse. There's a different way he should have did it. But I think we also have to understand the human emotion or element for him, that this is family we're talking about. I don't know. I would want to go on a platform and talk about my family in a negative light too, because these are big allegations, right? And they're very disturbing in a lot of different ways. I don't know if I would have handled them any differently, right? I might have been very like, hey, I don't want to talk about it, let's move on type of situation too. Maybe it's not the best thing to do in the moment, but at the same time though, you got business and you got family, and sometimes they intertwine, and maybe that's what happened for him.
I love your guys' side of the coin of talking about it because it's different than my side. So I like when we're on separate sides so we kind of can discuss it, because I feel like I don't care if it's family. This is still a business. This is a family business. You have to be able to, you can't play favoritism. And I think what probably just kind of threw me back the most was when he made a comment. It was something to the effect of, I didn't pull up the quote, but it was something to the effect of, let's focus on the positives.
That's exactly his quote. Yep.
We've been focused on the positives for 18 months or 16 months or however long you've been head of creative, and business has been booming and popping. The best the WWE has been in decades. We've been focusing on the positives then. So for me, when I look at that from outside looking in, I feel like, okay, how different would you be of a leader and dealing with the public if you were not a front runner? I am sure Tony Khan comes across completely different. Hell, Tony Khan came across completely different 3 years ago when the perception around the majority of the IWC was AEW is a better wrestling product than WWE. We thought it was hilarious when he was going out there and calling Nick Khan, whatever he was calling him, Shady Khan, or there's only room for one con man, and all this kind of stuff, and signing these, other wrestlers and people on Twitter giving him feedback about the show, and he immediately changes something that next week and say, hey, great call. We're putting that into effect come Wednesday on Dynamite. We loved it. It's a little different, though, when the shows aren't hitting the same, and now it feels like you're playing from behind. So that was what kind of threw me off. I would have loved if he didn't say that part. Mm-hmm. A couple of the things I do want to speak about outside of Vince, and I'm not going to get into any rumors except for one, because that would be irresponsible. But there was word or talks that Stephanie doesn't really even have her kids around Vince. And that is heartbreaking if that's the case. That is absolutely heartbreaking. I hope that's not the case. But you can understand why. But you know, hindsight, you kind of start going back and looking at things, right? So let's take the Stephanie thing for a second. Allegations hit. She gets the fuck out of Dodge.
But they try to blame it on her trying to make another deal on the other side, right? Wasn't that how? That's how it started. That she was supposed to be putting a deal with somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do that."
Now looking at it, say somehow, some way she didn't know her dad was doing this. But Vince has a reputation for this. You're going to assume, if we're all being adults, they knew something was happening with Vince. Oh, Vince is doing his Vince thing. He's having sex with the people who's working for him, and he has to pay him off. Because remember, I think there's either 4 or 6 outstanding NDAs and settlements and all that kind of stuff. So we know this ain't the last one we're going to hear about. I'm hoping for everybody's sake involved, this is by far the worst one. Mm-hmm. So say if she found out about it then and she's like, you know what, I didn't know it was like this, I'm out. That would make sense. Now this whole Brock Lesnar thing looks completely different. When Vince made that tweet about I'm retiring on that Friday, and I forgot where they were at, and Brock left.
Yep, he left
the arena. Mm-hmm. At the time, it's like, okay, Brock just has a hell of a allegiance and loyalty to Vince, and Vince has been there through thick and thin. They're close. He's not going to work for anybody else. Head of creative, except for Vince McMahon. Maybe he's worried about his character, whatever the case may be, right? Allegedly, if you put 2 and 2 together in the paperwork, it looks like the woman was almost offered up to Brock when his contract was up. And hey, you can get some of this too.
That's
now it makes sense why he may have left.
That's just disgusting.
Because if he's like, oh, shit, okay, I need to get out of Dodge. That would make sense. Also makes sense too now, if that is correct, why we got the good guy cowboy shaking hands, kissing babies, Brock Lesnar for the last year and a half too. You know, so there was talks online, which we may not ever see Brock again, and if it is for a long time, and once again, who knows, that may not be true. But until they figure out all these pieces,
yeah,
I understand why he can't be there. I want to go over Ari Emanuel. Did you guys see that report that came out where he basically talked about, or not he, but they talked about he's willing to remove anyone and everyone from WWE following Vince McMahon's resignation that was connected to Vince and anything that may have been part of misconduct or hiding this. Did you guys see this?
No, question before you read it and go over it. When did that come out? That statement?
Today.
Because okay, well, that should have been the statement that H had on Saturday. But continue.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. And yeah, Ari's the top guy. I understand Triple H is the figurehead, but on a week where Rock is named to the TKO board, Triple H is there. Vince McMahon is there. Ari's there. Whatever. So, did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I saw it.
It basically says the cleanup might soon be underway within WWE following Vince's resignation from the company. It emerged following Vince McMahon's resignation that TKO may sweep out the former WWE owners' allies. It has been since noted by PW Insider that Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor, and TKO will have no problem removing anything and anyone still remaining in WWE that could potentially harm the company's business going forward, which sources pointing to Emanuel walking away from Saudi Arabia without blinking an eye as an example of his past decisions. It was also noted that people don't know Emanuel if they think he wanted to discover the allegations that were made against McMahon, especially as his own daughter had worked at WWE headquarters for several years, and people don't understand how fiercely he will eradicate anything needs to be taken care of to protect his business. A number of Vince McMahon allies, including Kevin Dunn, John Laurinaitis, are no longer with WWE. Bruce Pritchard, however, has found himself accused of being Vince's avatar by former WWE star Ronda Rousey, and there is no word on his future within the company.
What does avatar mean in this sense?
Like he's just there. He's just there to do Vince McMahon's bidding, essentially.
Okay. So his wingman.
Like he's just a puppet. Yeah, he's just a puppet.
Right.
Vince.
Okay. Yep. It says knowledge in the last part. It says knowledge of McMahon's actions was reportedly widespread enough within WWE that everyone knew certain things. At least one person outside of the company also knew about the seriousness of McMahon's alleged actions. So I read that because it sounds like, and there's been some people who have come out and said that they absolutely 100% know of Emmanuel's business workings, and he's all about the business. Nothing comes before business. So on one hand, you want to say, like, you hope this is it. But then on the other hand, as a human being, as being a decent person, you have to say, I hope they find everybody. And if anybody had a place into covering it up, they need to be gone. And from a entertainment perspective, that sucks for me to say out loud, because I'm like, man, what if Triple H knew about what was going on? Well, he needs to go. Right? And who knows who runs WWE after that? Maybe Paul Heyman runs it. Actually, maybe it won't be that big of a deal. But just from a product perspective, that sucks. But from a personal perspective, we have to do a better job of protecting each other. And this happens in every walk of life. We've heard this in the music business, the movie business, in politics, at regular 9-to-5 CEO type jobs. So we know it happens everywhere, but it just sucks, man. It really did. When I saw that, and we talked about it, we knew something else was coming. We just knew it. But to read some of those text messages, and if she truly felt like she was being sex trafficked, if she truly had just lost her mom and, trying to get back on her feet, and he found her at her most vulnerable, I mean, there's a special place in hell for him.
Yep.
So, anything else on the Vince piece before we move on to the Netflix deal?
Hey, real quick though, I was thinking about, I thought about this. I'm like, man, what if Triple H knew? I don't think he took part of anything. That'd be a very sick world where Vince has him taking place in some of his misdeeds, and he's married to his daughter. But what if Triple H knew? And that's an evil right there, right? But there was when Vince took NXT from Hunter, right? It seemed like he was trying to get rid of this man. It seemed like he was trying to hurt this man. Right? He took NXT from him. He fired all of his friends, all of his allies, right? And this was during the time period of when all these shenanigans was going down, right? And then Paul ultimately had his heart attack, and
he was gone for a while, right? Almost a little bit less than a year, I think.
Yeah, I just it seemed like that was a little bit much for, just because you're the third brand lost to AEW. That's what speculation was, right? Like, Vince hates to lose, and
right,
he had to take NXT over and make it what it needed to be because Paul failed, right? But it seemed like he went through a lot to squash H and everything that almost he held dear. I wonder if Triple H had a problem or issue with anything besides NXT. You know what I'm saying?
So when you brought that up, I started smiling because our inside joke has always been Nick Khan and Triple H were the moles that.
Yep. Nick Khan was, yep.
Every time something happened that came out,
Nick
it's like, who would know that?
Yep.
Those two guys would probably know that. So, yeah, it sucks. It does suck. Thoughts and prayers to everybody legit on that. Because
I don't want to say this because how powerful the person is, but I'm going to say because it's heavy on my heart. What Ari Emanuel said is perfect. I love that. People who know him, it's all about business. Period. Boom. The second sentence would be, but if you are all about business, you probably should have heard the rumors about it too before you got in bed with him. No pun intended there. But you would think if you were that much of a businessman that you're going to always make sure you make the best possible business decision. You're telling me that you didn't hear any rumblings of Vince being, I'm going to say sex maniac. I'm just labeling that for right now.
Well, yes, but it doesn't matter because we're talking business. Why are we taking the personal piece out of it? We're taking out that, hey, in your personal life, you are a scumbag. We're taking that out. In the business perspective, yes, but they were all already paid off and there's NDAs out there.
Got it.
Before I came aboard, because none of this happened, of course, quote unquote, under my watch after I bought you guys. Yeah, I may have heard about it, but I think this has been going on for a very long time.
Of course. Again,
we talked about when we were on vacation, Rhodesia, the rumor when I was a kid about, I forgot her name, the ring announcer. She was a female. They gave Vince oral sex in the back of
a limo.
The limo. And that was back in the 80s.
Yep.
So you don't do that in the 80s and then you take a whole 3 decades off and then start going crazy again.
And I want to be clear. People want to be freaky, get their freak on. Y'all know I'm down for that. It's just when now it's against their will or you're manipulating them to a point. And you want to have threesomes, orgies, go right ahead, as long as it's all consensual. If she wanted to give head to Vince in the back of a limo, so be it. But the moment that it's no longer truly consensual, that's when there's a problem. Like you said, there's a special place in hell for that person.
And she's working for him. So that creates a conflict of interest.
Sure.
Because if she's doing that to get to where she's at, now I feel like I have to do that as a female talent, wherever I'm at, either on screen, off screen, whatever the case may be.
Yep, that creates that. And here's the thing, like TKO knew this was a bad idea. Every earnings statement, right? It was something about Vince McMahon is bad for business. You should get rid of him, right? Like the last 2 earnings statements, that company said that about Vince, right? So like they kind of knew that he was bad for business, right? At least.
And I think Emmanuel knew it. I think he only wanted him back just to be the figurehead, the face of the sale. Because remember, as soon as the sale went through, it was, all right, Triple H is head of creative. Yeah. It was like immediate.
But then Vince weaseled his way back on the board.
No, I'm talking about after the sale was complete.
Oh, okay. Got it.
After the sale was complete. It was like, all right, got it. We got to let our people who we hire and do a good job, we got to let them do that. Business is up, stock price is up. Hey, let them run their business. And you just kind of stay to the side. And so I think he knew. I think he knew. Okay, so now let's transition to the business. Should have been one of the best weeks in the history of WWE. You announced, like I said, The Rock is on the board at TKO. You announced this massive Netflix deal worth $5 billion for WWE Raw. Not Monday Night Raw, WWE Raw. I know Nick Khan came out and said that as of right now, it's going to stay on Mondays, but they're open to moving it, which of course, like you're selling your property. You don't have a say on what day it's on. Now it's just a matter of, hey, they get the rights to that product. What do you guys think about Raw now being on Netflix?
It's freaking mind-blowing. It is so innovative. But they, like he mentioned, talking about Nick Khan, they kind of always been this way. They've kind of, or was it H? No, it was either H or Khan, talking about how they kind of always did this, even down to the closed circuits, then to pay-per-view PLEs, and then to the streaming deal. Well, before the streaming deal, their actual network, then the streaming deal. Like they're the first to keep doing this. So I think this is on par, of course, of who they have been historically. But man, is that a huge deal? Is it going to completely change the whole landscape of what professional wrestling is and how people consume professional wrestling? We said that this is like the hottest time in pro wrestling. If you can keep the energy and the talent and the storylines going, it's going to probably even double, just because of these people who have no idea about pro wrestling or don't want to, is now on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix, just like everybody has Amazon Prime account. Everybody has Netflix. This is massive for them.
You know, you say everyone has Netflix. I don't have Netflix.
Well, I have Netflix.
Are you getting it?
I'm cutting them hoes. I mean, I guess I might have to. Because you think about it, like, here's the thing about, first I cut the cable, right? Mm-hmm. Because, I was never home to watch all of these channels and it was just super expensive. Then I started just streaming, right? But then everyone has a streaming network or channel, right? There's a specific show you like or a genre you like. At one point in time, I had probably like 20-something streaming services.
Including ROH.
Including ROH too?
Right, including ROH, right? And half of them I wasn't even watching. So some time ago, I started cutting back the ones I didn't watch, and Netflix was one of them. And that was one of the more expensive ones. It was like $20 a month.
It's $20 now, right? Yeah.
And, I very rarely watched it. So I cut it. With some of the other streaming channels, I'm like, man, I can't pay for all these things, especially if I'm not using them. So I wonder how many people around the world, especially wrestling fans, truly have Netflix. Because you guys gotta understand, not everyone consumes wrestling the way we do. Like, there's a lot of conventional wrestling fans that cable TV, right? They're the cable TV guys or the network TV people. They're not in technology like we are. That's a good part of their audience, especially around the world. So it'll be interesting. Now, for me, I'll probably have to go and, I guess, subscribe to Netflix and cut something else or add something to the cost. But I think that's very interesting. And I think too, them going to Netflix, I think it kind of opens their creativity a little bit, right? Because they're not restricted to cable TV standards anymore. Like, right, they can kind of be a little bit more risque with their product. Not saying they want to go back to, the Attitude Era. They're far away from that. But, we're talking about timing. It doesn't have to be over at 8:15. I mean, it can start at 8:02 and it can go to 12 o'clock, whatever. It doesn't matter. I think it's just very interesting how they're going to do the live TV. I don't think they have any live programming on Netflix right now.
Not weekly shows.
Yeah, they've done the Chris Rock comedy show. They did one of their reality shows, had their live reunion, which was a disaster. It didn't
nothing weekly, right?
Right.
Correct.
Weekly.
Nothing weekly and nothing with the level of what the WWE fan base is going to bring to that platform.
And what are we doing with commercials now? Like, that's the thing, because that's a lot of ad revenue that they have to interject throughout the programming. So
I looked at that. They so if you have the ad-free version of Netflix, you won't get commercials. If you have the ad-free, or if you have the ad, then you're going to get them. So it's going to be like, imagine like picture-in-picture for AEW. You won't be going to picture-in-picture. You're going to stay with the action. But if you have ads, then you're going to go to an ad.
So to me, that even speaks more of me being a fan, even liking it, because I get to watch, if I have the ad-free Netflix, I get to watch the matches in totality.
Yeah, this will be results. We know how.
Or you get the filler, like You go to a live event.
Yeah. I just pulled it up. There are as of right now, or as of the third quarter of 2023, there was 247.2 million Netflix subscribers.
And think about it, you get like 2 to 3 sign-ons, right? I know they cut down on it, but you get to have other people could get a sign-on. And my mom was on a sign-on with my brother, so at that I probably shouldn't be snitching on them. But if you look at something like that, my bad. And the demo that they're looking for under 45, everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a smartphone.
It's going to be consumed differently. I that part of it didn't really. I don't really care about that piece. Like, you guys brought up some good points. What I thought about was, this is going to change the perception of WWE forever.
It will.
Like, I was talking to Matt yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was telling him, by the time this deal is over, and you can maybe even argue it kind of starting right now, gone are the days are going to be of, ooh, you watch that wrestling stuff?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
That's going to be gone. You remember back in the day where, you read comic books? You watch superhero movies? And now, well, they're going through a little lull right now, but Marvel at one point was the biggest thing in entertainment. And I think that's what we're going to see with WWE, not them being the biggest thing in entertainment, but everybody's going to know what wrestling is.
It
is no longer, cool. You watch that. It is no longer, hey, you know that stuff is fake, right? No, this is going to be now ingrained more into pop culture than it ever has previously. Yep. And for me, I think that's where the value is going to be of this deal.
Yep. But that's the point that I was touching on, because I was saying that we are right. Everyone would agree, who's current fans, this is the best time of life in wrestling. Now imagine when we get on Netflix and we kind of get past the learning curve of technology issues, and we can get a true show every week without issues, live. Man, it's going to just catapult it to a whole nother level. And everybody's going to want to say, oh, I'm a wrestling fan. Oh, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'm a John Cena fan. Like, John Cena's not even wrestling right now. But the point is, they want to sound cool. It's cool, kids.
Yep. And you best believe, for $5 billion, you know how you go on Netflix and they all, they recommend like the latest movie. You best believe everybody in the world, when they click that thing, it's going to be right there. For Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Cody Rhodes, it is going to be front in your face. And I think you're probably going to have to click off of it. Not even click on it. As soon as you go to Netflix, they're already going to start Raw, and you got to say, you know what, I don't want to watch this.
They resume watching. I never start watching it.
They going to get their money back.
I love how positive you guys are about this. I hope that's the case. I hope that Netflix is the conduit that makes wrestling acceptable in pop culture. I hope that's the case. I don't know, fam, but I'm gonna roll with y'all.
Well, because I look at it in totality. So NXT's back to CW, right? And CW is, I don't know about now, but that was the Cool Kids Network. And we already know NXT is like the cool kids wrestling promotion, which now, of course, and we'll talk about it in a few months, we got to figure out our recording schedule. Because if NXT, what did they say? I forgot, but it was something with the change. Oh, SmackDown's going to be on Tuesdays now. So we got to figure it out because we can't record during SmackDown.
I actually like that.
Would you like the perceive of Raw Monday, SmackDown Tuesday, or you just like SmackDown being on Tuesday so it's not on Friday anymore?
Exactly. Those weekends for me was kind of rough. I squeeze SmackDown in there, but I like it being on a weekday.
Yeah. So now if SmackDown's on Tuesday, though, then where is NXT? Are you putting NXT up against Dynamite on Wednesday?
Probably.
And because Nick Khan said he would never go against the NFL, so it means Thursday's out the question for half the year when there's Thursday Night Football, even though that's the worst game of the year. I think this opens up a significant advantage for AEW with this, because it was like that black cloud kind of over AEW's head with, well, where is Raw going to land? If Raw lands on, cable TV or whatever you want to call it, network television, how much is left for AEW properties? And now knowing that they are on Netflix, I think that opens up a whole can of worms. So hopefully they get the ratings up and they can maximize their dollars because they're coming up quick. E, did you see that report that came out last week that the Khan families...
Which Khan?
Tony
Khan
and his dad. That their... What was it? Like their overall value went up like 45% or something like that, and the majority of that came from AEW?
That's what they were talking about a week ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I read a little bit about it. What caught your eye?
I would just... That amount, that percentage. You're going up 45%. Because, and I haven't dug into the deep details of like their financials, but you just hear so much of, yes, they are not netting as much as they should be netting. Yeah, money's coming in, but through contracts, through the video game, through, all that kind of stuff that, okay, they're not doing what they should be doing. If their evaluation had went up 45% and this through AEW alone, they're doing something pretty good.
Yeah, they should get a nice little rights increase coming up on their next contract. Definitely. Especially the money's there because they're willing to be in the hunt for Monday Night Raw. Talking about Warner Discovery. I mean, they definitely got to be able to give a little money to AEW.
And I would say that too. Like, look, I don't know what you was planning to give them, but if you was going to give them $4 billion, I'd take $1 billion.
I'll let your boy, right? Amazon Amazon was in the discussion for a very, very long time. And, ROH, one of the primary reasons why ROH hasn't found a network home is because, Tony had an exclusive contract, I guess, with Warner Discovery. And I guess that contract is going to be up pretty soon. So now he's willing to shop that to other networks. So maybe you might finally get ROH on a bigger network.
Or can we just
you said get rid of it?
ROH, please, and just put all those. I don't know. We don't need to go down that road right now. I'm excited to watch Dynamite though. I still haven't had a chance to watch Collision.
While you're thinking about that, I looked it up, and this is just from what Dave Meltzer's saying. This is one of y'all uncles. I forgot who uncle it is. But again, according to the Forbes article today, this was published a few days ago. The Khan family's sports enterprises are worth $8.25 billion, a 39% gain over the last year.
39%.
A sizable percentage of that gain came from the gain in value of AEW, and that the family has the 11th most value of any family in the sports business.
And that's before the new TV contracts.
Sure.
And that's also during the time period where business is soft.
Sure, exactly.
For attendance, not for pay-per-view, where, their revenue, because they gave us 4 extra pay-per-views this year. So that's a lot of revenue that's coming in. But yeah, you look at it I think their show tomorrow, I think they've sold 2,000 seats for it or something like that. So it goes in cycles. So we'll see. Y'all ready to talk Raw?
Yeah, let's
go.
Bring up the tempo of this.
Where do you want to start? I'm gonna throw it to you. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Punk news and the promo with him and Drew? Do you want to start with your boy Cody and that incredible promo with Seth Rollins? Where do you want to start?
Well, I like to bring a special guest onto the show to start our
on this
Raw
fourth
conversations.
Box? Who we got popping up?
And I'm going to go ahead and let her do the talking for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the winner of the 2023 and 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes!
Hell yeah.
I hear you, Pat. She smoked that.
What an awesome woman. Please protect her at all costs.
She had a little bit of extra spunk in her call on Monday, too. She hit that Chelsea Green harder than she's ever hit it in life. She smashed that Cody one. Let the talent be talented. I love that. Did you see, too, that she was only scheduled to announce one match on the Rumble, and then something happened and she ended up doing the entire show?
Yeah, we talked about it. I think Brandon sent us a video.
Man.
And Ricochet was like, yeah, she was only supposed to do one match.
Stay ready so you got to get ready, right?
Show, right. And that's not only from a mental perspective, like her voice, right? Because Katrina was listening to her doing that actual announcement, right?
Okay.
She was like, man, that girl got some pipes on her. And I'm like, she's a professional singer. Like, she has to keep her vocal cords ready to be able to lift that way for hours.
Yep.
Like, right? So for her to be able to be ready to do a whole event without preparation just shows how professional she is.
Bingo.
She was like, look, it don't matter if I only got one person I got to call out. I'm going to prepare like I'm calling out 1,000 people tonight.
Yep.
So kudos to her. Best ring announcer in the business. Calling out the best wrestler in the business. Cody Rhodes. Back-to-back winner of the Royal Rumble. Going to Mania. What awesome.
To face who? To face who?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet because
let's get into that.
Because Seth Rollins came out there and cut a great promo on Monday Night Raw, and he gave me reason to think like, you know what?
Yeah.
Hold on now. Maybe there might be a what is this? What will it be? Cody Seth 6?
13 or something like
82.
For real.
But isn't it funny how we just brought this up on the last pod? Like, in what world can we see where Cody doesn't go against Roman? And Seth came out there and smoked it.
He did. And everything he said was there wasn't an ounce of lie in anything that he said.
To be had.
Nope.
Man, I thought it was awesome, and I thought it was so cool because it's twofold, right? Like you can't just have Cody on Monday night. Now, he's going to be on SmackDown Friday too. Roman's going to be in the building. Let's see what happens. Rock, I need you to show up. You got to stop it, Rock. You are losing grip of this Rock Roman match, sir. You got to figure it out. But he couldn't just come out Monday and be like, all right, Roman, I'm taking you on, and then he's just done for the next 8 weeks. So that was genius, right? It's okay. Let's continue to tell a story there. And then what I really, really thought was incredible was say this all is just smoke and mirrors. And of course we get Cody and Roman. Whoever Seth takes on though is going to get all that equity from that promo. Because no matter who he takes on, he just put over that belt as being the most important and the top title in WWE during that promo on Monday. Now we'll see what Roman says on Friday if he even tries to retort or anything like that. But I loved it. And I also thought too, we talked about Survivor Series. We talked about our boy Fonz, where he watched Raw because Punk came back, and he doesn't watch typically. He may catch up with like the major shows. He'll follow like around Mania time, but then he's kind of out, and he used to always watch every single week, 10, 20 years ago. And he watched that Raw show, and E and I came on to the pod, and we're like, man, that show didn't connect. And Rhodesia, you were like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think you're, like making it a little bit too hard on the show. That show on Raw, take away the women's Rumble match, that Raw was better than the Royal Rumble. That's how you follow up a major pay-per-view that people are going to be tuning into to keep them hooked. And I thought they did a fantastic job. We got 3 awesome matches. They knocked those promos out. The production
Again.
Man, y'all know I am about production. I'm glad Kevin Dunn's gone. Those video highlights before they go to commercial, the backstage interviewers throwing it back to Michael Cole.
You've been
That is
tripping over
something-
that forever.
Oh my God. You stand there and look stupid, right? The wrestler is done, and now you're just standing there looking off in space until they take the camera off of you and they cut it back to the ring. And now we get to kick it back to Cole, Pat McAfee, and shout out to Pat too. You can tell Pat not used to doing 3-hour Raws.
Because he had to go
pee.
pee.
He
He had to go pee.
all over the place a little bit, but he'll figure it out. He's a pro's pro, of course. So Seth, put it out there. You want this belt. This is the work person's belt. You don't want, nobody cares about that belt no more. Roman ain't even here. He ain't never been here. Think about it. This is where your legacy should be.
So when we talk about black men, right? You know how we have Cody up here. Do we bring Seth up there with him, or does
Hell
he
yeah.
surpass him? Because not only did he represent us for Hogan, he also represented FUBU.
Yeah, he did. Hey, shout out. He said, man, I'm the FUBU champion. For us, by us. And if anybody knows anything about FUBU, it was me. Rhodesia can attest. I had every single sweatshirt. I had every single
color.
sweater. I had every single t-shirt. I had every single color back in the day of FUBU. I popped so hard when he said he's the FUBU champion. So it's neck and neck. You know what I mean?
It's neck
Cody's
and
done a
neck.
lot for civil rights. He has a black wife, right? So he still got it over
Maybe he's
Seth,
over Seth, yeah.
Man, if Seth come out and cut
Seth
a
is an
I Have a
ally.
Dream promo next Monday,
Seth is an ally. He's
There we
definitely
go,
a
he's
white
an
man.
ally.
He's definitely a white man. But Cody's a brother.
But he said, you don't want that Hogan title? I was like, oh shit.
and I also,
he sure did.
I love Seth's. I love
forgot
Cody's
about that.
response
He
too.
sure did.
Yeah, I love Cody's response of, man, I would have never thought this, but I got something to think about now.
Yep, I'll get back to you.
Yep, thought it was great.
Mhm.
I'm about to sneeze, so y'all take it away.
Or he's gonna just pause and wait for you to be done sneezing. How about that? You don't have to worry about it.
Something Seth was telling nothing but truths in that entire promo that he cut. And one thing that he said, that Roman Reigns isn't on God mode anymore. And that's what I've been kind of alluding to you guys for a long time. Like, Roman isn't on God mode. I know we talked about like a year ago, like, right? This is why I was like, this was a great opportunity for Cody to take the championship because of the level of the level that Roman Reigns was on.
Mhm.
Like, he's really cool since WrestleMania 39. Like, right? You think about us. Like, we did our year-end awards. We had Roman number 1 a year ago. We didn't have him, barely had him in our top 5.
Well, I had him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 last year.
You don't count.
Oh.
Like, right? He was surely on the God mode a year ago.
Mhm.
He's not that anymore. So, like, the Roman Reigns from a year ago, he's not that in perception. Now, people still love Roman. He still would draw. People want to see him, but
Mhm.
he's not that same guy anymore. And you think about it, I love what Seth said. Like, he's not the guy anymore. I'm the guy.
Everything he said, man, was just it was awesome. It was fantastic, and it was funny
was
too
That's
true.
because
an argument.
It was true, and also, like, when we're I think that might have been like the best promo he's cut. I won't say in ever, but it was a really great promo. I really I don't always connect with him. Like, right, and I don't always
does.
I don't always
comes
believe.
out here and does the Joker laugh, and it's hard to connect to that. Like, okay, you're entertaining, that's cool, but you take this promo and you take the one with Punk when you told Punk I hate you.
Yeah.
When we get serious, Seth.
Yeah.
Now, yes, it's a little bit different when I'm only serious 4 times out of the year and I'm cutting 30 plus promos, right? Okay, then I can really dig and sink my teeth into the material. But I agree. I walked away like, man, if we could get this Seth much more often, man, wow.
Because I believe that he believed what he was saying.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I tell you who else I believed what he said.
I thought this is where we're going to start, but go ahead.
When he said, I want you to know, I pray for this and it happened.
Oh, yeah.
Man, oh my God. I don't know why I thought that was such a it was like not like a TV-14 line. I just felt like that was something that we would never have heard from like old WWE. Maybe because he said pray. I don't know. It was just so raw and like so like on brand for the hater that Drew has become. I mean, he came out there and you would have thought he would be like, man, I just want to say I'm sorry. When he hit that line, I was like, okay, I've seen enough. Drew's the GOAT. This is it. I've seen enough. Punk was out there crying, and he cut a hell of a promo too. That was, you want to talk about Punk 101 babyface? Yep. Give me that.
That was his best WWE promo.
That was, man, that was incredible.
Drew's lines to Punk. Remember Santos' fake lines?
Oh, yeah, when he told him that he would hope his legs
wishes
never
legs
he never walk again.
Yeah. But Drew said it for real. He said, and I prayed for it. Drew, though, and this probably, who knows how long we're going to be seeing him for in WWE. This Drew is so real. I remember about a month and a half ago, I'm like, I don't really know where I'm at with Drew. Like, because we don't know if he was a good guy, bad guy. He even said it on his promos. I'm just me. But right after that, when he's giving us like this serious Drew, kind of like the serious Seth, Drew is massive. So one, he has it with his size and his presence and his aura. And two, when he's saying these things, it's just like, where the hell has this Drew been? Like, where?
Losing all his world title matches?
Because he had a super damn sword. If he leaves the sword alone, he'll be better.
Oh, you missed it. He came out for his match with Sammy. Because I know you didn't see the entrance. He didn't have the sword, but they still gave him the pyro and the big boom. And he kind of like did like a flex and it hit. And I was like, there we go. You leave that. Hey, I understand Lucille, whatever her name is, the Sora's name. I know that was a thing for your mom. That works as a face, man. It don't work as a heel. Because as a heel, you should be stabbing folks.
Heel or face, like, I mean, why are you still coming out with a sword? I guess I don't. You said it's about his mama. I guess I must miss that episode of Raw/SmackDown whenever he said that was his mama's sword. But no, to me, it's just too cringy. Stop. This man is a massive main attraction type spectacle, and you have him coming out here with a sword. He's big enough already. He doesn't need a prop to make him any bigger. But this Drew is clicking on all cylinders. I hope we get to see this for a while in WWE.
Yeah, I think the sword was his idea, though.
Then
it probably was. I'm sure he didn't think
he'd
be
for 2 years.
For 2+ years with it. He sold some merch with it. All right, so I got okay, so then the Punk piece being hurt, I guess I don't want to say I feel vindicated, but I'm validated in my thoughts about him and Cody at the end of the Rumble. Now it makes complete sense why, for me, it wasn't clicking. Well, he was hurt. He couldn't use his tricep. But I got a wild conspiracy theory. You guys know how I get down with these. Not saying this is going to happen. What if his tricep is not as hurt as it is allegedly perceived to be? Because Punk came out and said, when I come back, you are the first on my radar. Allegedly, they said this is like a 6 to 9 month injury. Drew ain't re-signed yet. His contract's up in April.
That means Punk going back to AEW.
No. What if? What if Rock made that call on Monday and said, all right, I'm in. Or Sunday, I'm in for this year's Mania. But we got to figure out something for Cody. No way we can just put Cody to the side. What if our top 3 matches for this WrestleMania is a returning way too soon CM Punk to take on Drew McIntyre? Maybe he returns at Elimination Chamber. Maybe something happens a few weeks before WrestleMania and Punk is like, you know what? Nope. Give me Drew at Mania. I don't care how beat up I am, how bad I am. I need Drew at Mania. That's a main event. You get Cody versus Seth. That's a main event. You get Rock and Roman. Of course, that's a main event.
Well, I'm writing it down and I'm timestamping it for you.
Wild conspiracy theory. But would you guys be okay with that?
From so far, yeah, from what we've seen from last night or from Raw, absolutely. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. My only thing is, I know it's The Rock and the rules don't apply to him. But are you guys, we're talking about 2 months away. We're talking about, we're okay with this man.
Yes.
Who hasn't wrestled in 10 years.
See.
Get a main event
See.
championship match at Mania.
See.
I mean, it's The Rock. It's Rock and Roman.
See.
Anybody else, probably not. But I would have been okay with, yes, and that's fine. I would have been okay with Austin and Roman last year, too, when that fell through.
Austin and Roman.
Remember that they tried to get that?
But okay.
Yep, and that fell through.
I don't think we've ever, Matt, and we've seen them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mania 1 through 40, we've seen them all. I don't think we've ever seen a main event that big with stakes that high with this little bill from WWE. This ain't Tony Khan's AEW. We've never seen them put on this type of match with this little bill with nothing. Like, we've never seen them take somebody who, quote unquote, to be honest with you, I know he's The Rock. I know that's what y'all want to go with. Someone who really doesn't deserve the position and be in that position at WrestleMania 40 without reason. We've never seen it.
So is that enough if Cody takes on Seth and Cody beats Seth, night one main event of WrestleMania? Is that a check mark for you of Cody finishing the story?
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, I hope you don't misunderstand my point. I don't know if what I thought was that Roman's going to win a Rumble or something like that, and he's going. That's how he's going to get his championship. He's going to be able to. He's going to earn the quote unquote championship. At this point, we've never seen a challenger being given this type of profile without deserving it before. And WrestleMania 1 through 39, we've never seen it before. I just don't see that happening. I think that whatever Rock and Roman is going to do, I don't know if it's going to be at this Mania. I don't think they have enough time or build for it to really be what it needs to be.
Be what it needs to be. Okay,
so we got 2 months now.
I would agree with that, but there's 3 big factors. Universe loves speed. 2, Rock will be a year older. And 3, we're at this crossroads, no pun intended there, but with Roman and being the head of the table and us feeling that this is a collapse now and we need somebody to check him or try to come and check him. I think the table, of course, was set perfectly last year, but we didn't get it. I think this is probably the last opportunity, I feel, to get this Rock Roman. And I've always said Rock Roman needs to be at WrestleMania. Since Roman has the belt as of now, it will be a main event. Even if Roman didn't have the title, I would still want that as a main event. Now, I'm a Rock fan and I'm a Roman fan. But I think that because of the universe like speed, we can get us there. And then The Rock being a year older next year if we wait. And because the timing of this whole tribal chief head of the table thing is right now, I think that it can work.
Yeah, I just wondered. I asked E that question about Cody because I wondered if he feels like, okay, that's good enough to finish the story. Because I'm sure there's a segment of fans that finishing the story is only against Roman Reigns for that title that Roman holds.
And
for me, Roman is such. I mean, like I said, a year ago, I know you asked me. You said that you think that this year will mean more for him if he were to win than last year.
Talking about Cody, right?
Cody, right? And not necessarily to me. I think that Roman has cooled off so much that it doesn't matter. I'll be fine if it was. I'll be fine if it was Roman or it was Seth. I'll be hooray. Like just to me as a fan, Roman doesn't mean as much as he did a year ago. The feud between them doesn't mean as much as it did a year ago. And that might just be because Roman's hasn't been there to tell the story as much.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's more of just how they're booking Roman. Once again, if every match is finishing with Solo, he's the only reason why I'm winning these matches. At least the build up the prior year before 39 was there were some matches he was winning on his own. Yeah. Right. And then it wasn't until that September when Solo appeared at Clash at the Castle was when that started. So at least he was doing some of the things on their own. It's going to be interesting on Friday because you got to heat Roman up. You got to do something. And yeah, you still got 8 weeks or whatever it is. He's not going to be at Elimination Chamber, but you got to, whoever Roman takes on. And I'm still thinking, like I said on Saturday, 90% is going to be Cody, but you got to heat Roman up. Something has to happen to where we even think Cody may not win. Like something, I don't know what they could do, I don't know if it's some type of stipulation that they throw out there that we'd be like, oh man, Cody can't overcome this. But as of right now, as constructed, I can't wait to see how they're going to make this feel like there's a chance that Roman Reigns does not beat or, doesn't lose to Cody Rhodes.
Oh, it's a chance. It's certainly a chance. It's certainly a chance.
Did you guys pick up on Imperium versus New Day?
Nope. I didn't really see that match, so I'll gracefully.
What about it?
There's 3 people in Imperium, including Gunther. There's 2 people right now with New Day. And New Day is getting the brakes beat off of them.
Yeah.
Against Imperium.
You think Big E's coming back?
All signs point to that, man. And could you imagine that?
Hey, you know what's funny, Matt? Katrina asked me, she was like, is Big E back yet? Big E back yet? I'm like, not yet. It's funny you said that.
Yep.
Casual Katrina.
Yep. She's
the
on
energy's
it.
there then.
She's on it.
Well, we already know Katrina has her own podcast and she has like 2 million subscribers. So we've already said that already.
And listeners to the pod, that's like our running joke almost every single week. Actually, not this week, but almost every single week, he gets into his studio. He's like, man, why is my microphone moved? Man, why is this happening? I'm like, because Katrina has a best-selling podcast that she ain't told nobody about. And that's why. She's killing that area over there. So that's funny. But yeah, I saw that on Monday, and I was like, not to get hopes up, but if it's any time for Big E to come back, what better way is it Gunther and Imperium in the New Day?
And last week, didn't they have like a New Day hug or something? Again, I was kind of removed from internet last week, but wasn't there something?
Yeah, not on TV, but yeah. Okay. They were at one of the PR events.
Okay.
And like the feud between the Imperium and the New Day is a little bit different for New Day because like the Imperium was like getting in their ass, like they are being ultra. And then New Day also, Xavier, Kofi, they've upped the hostility and aggression in their matches with them. They're not always out, they joke and do everything before they get out there, but during the match, it's a lot of aggression in those matches. That's really nice to see.
What'd you guys think of Bayley? Her promo, where I guess she was going to come out allegedly and say she was going to take on Rhea, and then Nia basically was like, "No, this one's mine. You can go and challenge Rhea, Io." And they shot the Io, and Io had that concerned look on her face. Dakota did not have a knee brace on.
Wink, I didn't peep that out. I didn't peep that out.
Yep, I did. What'd you guys think about that segment?
I just thought that the only thing, because I didn't see it from beginning to end, I just thought the glimpse of when Bayley kind of cowered herself into the corner because she was scared of Nia. And I just thought that, again, Bayley is she's comical. She's this actress. And again, another notch to well-deserved. You've been putting on these last year and a half. I'm happy you're in this place right now in this situation. So that's the only thing that I took away from that. That, yeah, we had that little look with Io, like, because she said, I'm going to address it on SmackDown, who I'm going to go against. And then Io's like, whoa, who you going to go against? Kind of look. But yeah, when she kind of backed down from Nia, that's when I was like, okay, that's cool.
Man, like Rhea Ripley in that segment. I remember her in this video, little quick video she did on Twitter with this guy. They were promoting like 2K24 coming up. Did you see it?
I saw it. He was talking about not breaking them.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, you gotta stare at me for 10 seconds.
It was the guy's idea. It was the guy's idea because everybody, like when they see Rhea, they just fold, and he's just like, you're not gonna fold me. You got to stare at me for 10 seconds, and I'm gonna try not to break.
And so, how long? Before he even started, he was already. She was like, "You're already breaking." He's like, "No, we ain't started yet." 2 seconds, because she did something, Rhodesia. She did this thing with her tongue.
Yes, sir. Yes, Lord.
And he just immediately broke. And he's a professional, though. He just quickly pivoted to the next thing, right? So I love me some Rhea. I love me some Rhea. Nia was really good in that segment too. She almost like she set her prey. Like, hey, look, this chick's mine right here.
This one's mine.
You can go do what you want to go do with her, but this right here, that's me. I kind of like that too.
You know what I love too, real quick on the leg drops, the way Rhea sold it. that was a different type of sell because she was getting leg drop. If you guys didn't peep it, go back and watch it. It was not as a dead cell, or she gets hit and she lays out, or she goes on her stomach. It was she contorted her body in a way that you just don't typically see from a sell from a leg drop. And she did it. I think she got leg drop like 3 times. It's little stuff like that, man, that really makes your opponent look stronger and look better than if you don't do that.
Hey, you know what? And actually, Nia's leg drop actually looks fierce, right? And like back in the day, we knew Hogan's leg drop was like lights out, right? We knew it was lights out.
Eshawn just gave Nia Jax a compliment.
So loud.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so loud.
This isn't the first time.
Stamped it.
This isn't the first time. But you know what I'm not interested in yet?
What's that?
Anything Bayley has to do.
See, you just a Bayley hater, I think, though.
No, I like Bayley. You know, Bayley screams mid card, and so let's talk about where she's at.
Okay, so and you're talking strictly what you see on TV presentation.
I'm talking about
you're not talking like the inside of how much she's helped everybody around her. Got it.
No. I love Bayley personally. I think she's like one of my top. She's one of my top. I love everything about Bayley.
I can agree with that.
But shouldn't that be the role that she should be playing, to where you would feel that she's a mid carder, considering EO is a champion?
Not if she's not. Yeah, not if she's about to, have a big Mania match for the championship, right? Like, I don't get what they're doing with her, because she's not likable yet, like, right? Because she's still kind of coming off kind of squirmy a little bit, like, right? She's cowering in the corner. She's scared of Nia. She's still kind of sneaky. She's just trying to interfere. Right, but at the same time, her whole team members are shading her a little bit. Like she's like in this weird area where she's not necessarily super likable, but she's not really hateable either. She's just kind of just there, and I don't think like somebody in the middle isn't main event to me.
I think she's transitioning. So about a month and a half ago, sure. But it's slowly happening. There is some empathy growing for her. No, she's not a straight baby face, because again, why would you just do that cowardly act in the corner? You're a real face. You're going to stand toe to toe to Nia.
Exactly.
But slowly you're seeing it. If we still have 8 weeks to 7 weeks to build to Mania, I think we can get there. I think that this is perfect pacing for me.
Yeah, I just counted. It's about 9 weeks. Yeah,
I think this is about perfect pacing for me.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean because you got to go because what we've seen in the past, you guys remember these days too, under Vince, they would peak way too soon, right? The stories for Mania, they would peak like right after the Rumble, and you're sitting here with like 4 weeks left in Mania. You're like,
because No Way Out was a throwaway.
By the time Mania comes, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah,
and I think they're going to change that a little bit. So, but hey, I am happy and excited to revisit it every few weeks. If you feel like she's getting better, but I mean, she's gonna be in one of the main event matches. She's not going on last, of course, but by the time we get to Mania, if Io and Bayley is not one of the bigger matches on that card, I would be severely disappointed.
I agree.
It's interesting because we're thinking like we got 8 weeks, but that's not a lot of time for a character to go through a whole character shift and change.
But I look at Drew. So I felt that way for Drew for about 2 weeks. And then boom, this is the best Drew for the last 2 weeks. This is the Drew I want to see. So I think we can get there. I absolutely think we can get there.
Drew's been on this road for about the past 3 to 4 months, though.
But I'm talking about my feelings toward him. And
I know
my ride with him.
You've gotten there, but his road has been there.
Yeah, he's been a big deal because he's been losing his matches, but he's been in World Championship matches.
Yeah,
I think his point is like Bayley hasn't really fought for anything.
No, I'm talking about the storylines and bringing the storyline. I'm not talking about main event spots. I'm talking about just the storylines and how the evolution of a character can go from bad or good or indifferent to changing in a transition. That's what I'm talking about.
Drew's resign. What are you waiting for? I mean, get your money.
but resign as this Drew. Don't resign as the other Drew.
Oh. They creatively they figured it out with him, for him. I mean, I actually would love him to go to I would love for him to go to AEW if they had a better creative team in place. Because I think if he were to go to AEW, he'd be exactly what they needed. But alas, somebody has to write some ideas for him, and
He hates him. We got to figure out a new, maybe like you, like Easy E is like Eric Bischoff. So maybe we kind of switch you to Easy E too, because you definitely are the Bischoff of the TFW podcast.
That's kind of close to his Twitter handle, isn't it?
Close to it, yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of music, because somebody said something about music, and I thought about it.
Music.
I didn't have it written down. Who talked about something with music
Today?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, maybe not. But I remember Mercedes theme song is on DSPs right now.
I
checked it earlier.
Okay.
It's on Apple. I think it's gonna be on Spotify. It's probably on Spotify already. But it is the Mercedes Mone song.
So
time.
So is it Dynamite or Collision? Whenever she shows up, is it going to be a Dynamite?
It's gotta
or
be
Collision?
Dynamite. It's gotta be Dynamite.
Put it on Collision so like the 300,000 people that normally watch the show can all see it.
They hit 423,000 or something like that. This
Hell yeah, let's go.
The lowest. It was the low. No, that's like the lowest I think Collision's done. But you're going against the Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm like, man, that's still pretty. That's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. But yes, Mercedes is coming sooner rather than later. But yeah, her song is out. I listened to it. Her last like minute of that song. Yeah, I mean, I like the whole song, but it completely switches up the beat. It's pretty fire. Go check that out. There was some talk on Twitter on Sunday, and I chimed in about something. I want to get your guys' thoughts. There was a lot of people talking about how the majority of wrestlers didn't get a reaction at the Rumble. And there was a lot of talk of because their theme music sucks. Or it's not recognizable. What's your guys' thoughts about, is it because their theme music wasn't recognizable? Because I feel like if you watch the show, you should know. Or is it because maybe those wrestlers aren't over?
I think it's actually, my leading theory is none of those two. Most people don't know somebody's entrance music unless they're a stan. Again, loosely saying they're a stan. Unless their sound and the visual is there. So when we get to those stadium type shows and you can't really see the Titantron and a music hit, you know instinctively how you feel about this person, good or bad or hype or not hype. But sometimes you're like, oh my God, who is, oh my, but wait, who is that? So I think part of it, at least a segment of people, you kind of really don't know their music or their song until you hear the music hit and you see them. And in those stadiums, you just, the Royal Rumble, some of the Manias, you just don't see it. So you're like, okay.
You do, because they have the massive Tron, so there's no way you can ever miss that. But all the other stadiums where they do just the mini little Tron, that is a problem, because a third of the seats, either you got a great view of the ring, or you are along that really, really long ramp, and that's really all you can see. But I saw a lot of that, and like I said, for me, I was like, okay, well, I don't think that's the case. And yes, I would love for them to get better music for some of these people. But the example that I used was, look at Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace got a huge reaction. Don't nobody know Jordynne Grace's music, if you want to go by this. Her music's not known to the WWE fans. Andrade, he came out as soon as the Idolo hit, he got a huge pop, and then it stopped because he came out in the mask, and when he took his mask off, you heard that secondary pop. He also got a big reaction. So, like, it can't be the music. I just think the majority, and it was really at the women's Rumble, I think they're just not over. And that speaks to the lack of overall focus of that women's roster from 2023. And that's what I think they need to really take care of. I don't think it has anything to do with, oh, the music is so generic that people don't know. If you're at the Rumble, I think you know people's theme music.
Not sometimes. Sometimes I'd be like, who is that?
But you know the theme music for the people who are hitting, like, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I think that's just, like the Tegan Knox, those
Correct.
Type of people. Yeah, mm-hmm. I'm not into their character. I don't know their music, right?
Yeah.
But like a Natty, right? I'm not super into Natty, but when her music hit, I know it's her.
Yeah. That's like a Heart Foundation type sound, right?
It's like Brett's. Like, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but so then if you knew Brett, then you knew her. See, I didn't follow Brett.
Yeah, her music is recognizable, and that's the one thing too. Like, I bet if Natty come out, regardless, cause for a lot of the new generation, like they don't think of the Heart Foundation when they hear Natty's music, probably, right? Because that was like 20, 30. That's like 20 or 30 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. But I bet, like, let's say like at the live show, I bet if Natty were to come out and her music hit, I bet she'll get like a big pop. Because people know that's her. They like, oh, it's a star coming out. That's her music. that's her. Think about it, like if Katana Chance comes out with her music and she would start a show. People
don't they have the same song? Don't they have the
Yeah.
same music together or separate music?
And that song's not bad. It's like a nightclub type of, bop. It has nothing to do with the music.
But how about this? I don't necessarily know all of the Judgment Day's individual songs.
But you know it's them. When you hear it, you know it's them coming out.
I don't know which one.
But you standing up to see who it is.
It might be our truth. It might be our truth.
Hey, matter of fact, if we switch gears though, I thought I didn't notice it until last night. But when R-Truth came out and they had they normally have like the little Judgment Day guys with the swords and the black.
You saw it? They added that.
And then they added R-Truth and he's winking at the camera. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Ryan sent to us in the DM earlier today talking about we're getting the Awesome Truth reunited to take the tag titles off of Judgment Day and Mania. I don't know how I feel about that.
It ain't happening, but I love it. I'm gonna be there for that match.
I mean, maybe Elimination Chamber. Let's not do that.
I know we got to move on, but that DIY match last night was really good, and them being on Raw.
They were over too.
They were so over in Tampa. I'm like, yes, this is the DIY that I know and love.
Besides the music.
Besides the music.
Yep. I thought it was great. Like that match. Of course, Drew and Sammy was really, really strong, and then there was one more. It wasn't Kofi. Oh no, it may have been Kofi and Gunther.
And they had a good match.
Yep. So overall, really, really good Raw. So they're heating up. They're heating up. So let's do our top 20 list. Some of you guys, and thank you all who sent in your guys' list. I just want to kind of bring them up and let's just have fun with it. And what we do, I'll just go over the 20. Okay. And then give me the one person on these people's said list that you did not have on your list that you would put in your list. You don't have to worry about who you would knock off. Just say yep, that person. Cool. Yep, that would be a good top 20 person. So first one I got here is Dwayne. It's my cousin Dwayne. Shout out to Dwayne. Hey, Dwayne. Also another ATL guy.
He got me my Bianca Belair.
He did not get you Bianca Belair.
He did.
Bobby got you Bianca Belair.
Bobby got me Bianca Belair. Sorry, Bobby.
But he's also our cousin.
Yeah. But Dwayne, you can take credit for it right now, though.
He has Sasha Banks at number 20. Undertaker. Usos. He cheated too. He put Usos 18. Bianca Belair. Rick Rude at 16. Booker T at 15. 14. Chris Benoit. 13. Steiner Brothers. He cheated again. Charlotte 12. Mr. Perfect 11. Hulk Hogan number 10. Would you switch out yet?
Not me.
Okay. I would. Give me Rick Rude. Yep, give me Rick Rude. 10 through 1. So Hogan is 10. Then he's got Angle, Orton, Cena, Roman, Macho Man, Lesnar, Bret Hart at number 3, The Rock at number 2, and then his number 1 is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. He is the biggest Nature Boy fan that I know. So that is right on brand. So who'd you guys pick from his list?
Do I have to?
Yep.
I'll say Brock.
Okay. E, who'd you pick?
The Usos.
Okay. Ryan from the Parallax. Ryan is, I want y'all to listen to this. Ryan is like E. Y'all are two peas in the pod. Listen to his list. Top 20. He starts it by saying top 20. You ready? Number 20. Roddy Piper, Randy Savage, Kofi Kingston. Sir, I'm already at 17. What are we doing? That was all his number 20. It gets better. Number 19 is Charlotte Flair and or Becky Lynch.
Wait, stop.
Yes.
Okay. Keep going. Top 30 list. Okay, keep going.
And he even included, you're going to love this. So 18, Booker T. 17, Sasha Banks. 16, Rey Mysterio. 15, Chris Jericho. 14, Kurt Angle. 13, Kenny Omega. 12, Randy Orton. 11, Bryan Danielson. And 10, Roman Reigns. Are you guys taking any of those top 36 that he gave us?
Yeah.
Who you taking?
Take Kenny. I don't know if Kenny's on my list. I don't think Kenny was on my original list.
I
but I
don't
don't know.
think Kenny was on your list either.
I'll take Kenny.
You take any of those 10 or 15?
No, not yet.
Okay, that's cool. He's got a lot. No worries. No worries. Number 9. So 10 was Roman. Number 9 is Andre the Giant. Number 8, John Cena. Number 7, Sting. So Sting is on his list. And it's funny too. Dwayne had a nerve to send us a text message, right? And he's like, "Man, like y'all was like pretty good, but man, y'all was really off. Like you didn't have Sting on there, et cetera, et cetera."
But he didn't have Sting on his list.
Seriously.
Come on, Dwayne.
6 is The Rock. 5 is The Undertaker. 4 is Shawn Michaels. 3 is Bret Hart. 2 is Ric Flair. 1 is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's Ryan's list?
Yep. Ryan ain't done. Ryan ain't done.
Okay.
Don't you worry about it.
Okay, God.
Honorable mention. Owen Hart. People I didn't have room for. Triple H. AJ Styles. CM Punk. Eddie Guerrero. Mankind.
No.
Dusty Rhodes.
No.
Bayley.
He goes in the penalty box. No.
Oh, he ain't done. He got one more. People who will be on this list within the next couple of years. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and Asuka. Which I mean, I agree with.
Yeah.
I agree with those.
But that probably is like 37 people total for real, though.
Yeah, I don't think Asuka is going to crack my top 20 of all time, though. She's 42, and not that that's like super old. I just don't think she'll crack the top 20 because I got to put Bianca there over her. Seth was not in my top 20, I think. He's got an opportunity to get there. Cody was not in my top 20. He absolutely has an opportunity to get there. So, like, for me, Asuka just probably wouldn't crack my top 20.
How do you follow that list, though? I know you might got somebody else, but...
I do.
How do you follow that?
So, our next one is our guy, Rich Beats. And Richard. So, Richard is one of our good friends, and he has watched wrestling basically throughout. Of course, he took, like, a time off over the last few years, but he was around for the Attitude Era. He was around for the 80s. So his list sounds like it, which is pretty cool. He did a tag team list and a regular list.
Oh my God.
So we'll go with his tag team list.
All right, let's go.
Or do y'all want to go with his regular list?
Let's go tag
he
team.
separated it. Okay.
Let's go
Yeah,
tag team.
so let's do tag team. Number 20, he had APA. So now we got to do a tag team list in the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
APA. 19, the Von Erichs. 18, the Steiner Brothers. 17, the Hollywood Blondes. 16, the Freebirds. 15, the Rock and Sock Connection. 14, the Funks. 13, the Four Horsemen. Shout out to his number 12, Killer Bees. Killer Bees. He just put Four Horsemen. Yep.
Is that like a rock band? Okay, keep going.
The Killer Bees? Oh, no, you
Yeah.
don't know about Killer Bees. Go do your
Clearly,
Googles.
I don't.
Yeah, come back and do a presentation on Sunday.
Okay.
11, the British Bulldogs. He's got some great tag teams on here. We got to do tag teams. 10, the Brood. 9, Demolition. 8, Harlem Heat. 7, New Age Outlaws. 6, Hardys. 5, Rockers. 4, New Day. 3, Legion of Doom. Number 2, the Heart Foundation. And number 1, the Dudleys.
Wow. I guess he wouldn't have followed the Usos.
Yep, no Usos.
Yeah.
No Usos on his list. And no Young Bucks, because of course he doesn't kind of watch the younger now. That's a good list.
From the people that I know, that's a really great list. Yeah.
Tyler. Our guy Tyler. Big T. He just put favorites, so he didn't have 20. But he has as an OG, he's got Bruno Sammartino. He put Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Trish Stratus, Bryan Danielson, the TNA AJ Styles, Sting, Taz, RVD, Rey Mysterio, and The Rock.
I like that.
I would take RVD off his list and put it on my list. RVD was the man in both ECW and WWE. But that's a strong list too. Not to be confused with Brandon that was on the pod on Saturday. Brandon James, our guy on Twitter. Number 20, he has Kevin Nash. I think that's the first time we've seen Kevin Nash on anybody's list. So, which is cool. He also has Taz. Brandon's list is pretty good because he's got some like New Japan. Like, so check this out. 18, he has Tanahashi.
Nice.
17, he has Naito. 16, he has Okada. 15, he has Kurt Angle. 14, Austin Aries.
Ugh.
That's surprising. I think you might have missed on that one, Brandon. You got to give me, send me a message and tell me what about Austin Aries has him in your top 20. Because everybody else, I get Austin Aries, I think he's okay, but top 20, I don't know.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, number 13. Sting, number 12. So that's our second Sting. Undertaker, 11. Stone Cold Steve Austin, 10. In his top 10, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Booker T at 5, RVD at 4, Macho Man at 3, Eddie Guerrero at number 2, and The Rock at number 1.
I would probably take Eddie. I didn't have him on my list.
Yeah, Eddie's up there too, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Eddie
who I
was
would
so
take
good.
off his list. You said what he?
I said Eddie was so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I had to pull up Austin Aries because I thought that's who it was. I didn't know it for sure. But yeah, wow, that was interesting. I guess he had a better TNA career.
No.
It-
Yeah, I mean anywhere career.
Stop it.
He was, like I said, he was cool. He was good.
He was a
But-
good hand anywhere he went.
Yeah, that's why I said, Brandon, shoot me a message and tell me like what exactly about him. If there's like a match that just blew you away, send it to me and I'll find it because I don't see it. I think last but not least, we got our guy Derek. Now, Derek also, now Derek, sir, you asked me to go over your list. If you're going to ask me to go over your list, I need your list to be succinct. Derek sent me 4 messages, and his list kept changing during every
Oh my
message.
God.
Derek said, who we got? Let's see. He said, including tag teams? If so, Deuce and Domino.
Oh Lord.
That's a tag team from 2007.
All right.
I remember
Derek,
Deuce and
I heard
Domino.
enough.
From
Heard enough.
WWE? In WWE?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well,
I'm
I stopped watching
19.
wrestling around that time.
Hey, no, listen. 19, London and Kendrick. You were definitely a SmackDown baby. Derek, you got to tell me how old you were around that time because this is absolutely a SmackDown list. I love it, though.
Sure is.
Yep. 18, Carlito. 17, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph, if he was ever
Dolph.
pushed properly, would
Yep.
absolutely be on the top 20 list.
Yep.
16, Sami Zayn. 15, Adam Cole, baby. 14, Bayley. So he has Bayley in his top 20. That's awesome. He has Dakota Kai at 13.
Wow.
Oh, okay, Derek. All right, you're just a big Damage Control fan. 12 is Asuka.
No, nothing wrong with Asuka. The Dakota one got me though, but okay.
Sasha Banks at 11. RKO at 10. Triple H at 9. 8 is Batista. 7 is Kane. Then he has Taker right above him. CM Punk. The Usos. Roman Reigns at number 3. Number 2, Steve Austin. And number 1, we are all kind of aligned. The Rock.
The first Rock. This is the first one.
Yes. And then he said, damn, I forgot to mention Eddie Guerrero. Can I take out Adam Cole and replace Eddie? Then he said, yeah, my list keeps changing. I keep forgetting to mention some wrestlers like Brock Lesnar. I'm sure Brock may not be on your list anymore, but we can, if I can separate Hogan, absolutely, Derek, you can put Brock on there. Oh, sorry, man. He said also looking forward to the Royal Rumble. Oh, I thought you said he's looking forward to Brock being in the Royal Rumble. Going to be epic. Yep. So that was fun. So awesome. Thank
I
you
love
everybody
those
but it's just so much fun just to like hear people's top 20 lists, right? Because nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It is your personal list of what got you into wrestling. And it just shows also like the wide spectrum of some of these folks. Like he was talking about people that were these you had never even heard of. That's in his top 20 list.
Bruce
And
Adams or
then,
something.
yeah, you hear some of these here, and it's like,
Same difference.
wow, people who were kind of really bona fide mid-carders at time, right? Never hit the main event, never main event in Mania or the Tokyo Dome or main event in WCW, but it was still like something about them grabbed.
Spoke to them, yeah.
Yep, love it, absolutely love it, super cool. So now we got to do a tag team one soon. That's gonna be fun and really, really hard.
For me,
We should
for
do
sure.
just
it's gonna be
like,
hard.
we should do just like top 10 to make it really, really hard.
Yeah, let's do that. Because I probably only know 11.
Damn.
So he already thinking about it. Yep.
Hey, enough.
Yep. He already thinking about it.
I might have to
You
cheat
can
off
get
of
to 10,
Richards.
you
I
can
have
get
to
to 10 without
cheat.
even thinking.
Yeah, I probably have to cheat off of
10 is
Richards.
easy.
20 to get to my 10.
So maybe we call it the tippy top.
The
10.
tippy top.
Oh, last thing, and then we can get out of here. It was so fun. Rhodesia's mom was over to the house, and she watched the Royal Rumble with us, which was really, really cool. Doesn't watch wrestling. She's familiar with, like, of course, like the big names, right? Roman, Rock. But it was so interesting to see her and her reaction to the wrestlers. And it was interesting because anybody big that came out, she would say, "Are they champion?" So we had to explain to her what the Rumble was. She's never seen a Royal Rumble, right? But they showed LA Knight in the pre-show. And she's like, "Is he the champion?" I was like, "That's surprising." Okay. Naomi came out in her entrance. She's like, is she a champion? I was like, interesting. Tiffany Stratton came out. She's like, is she a champion? I was like, they're on to something. So, you know, as we talked about my dad watching that full episode of SmackDown about a month ago and him being involved in it, and he hasn't watched wrestling like that in decades. You see Rhodesia's mom doesn't know anything. She was into it though. But just her correlation to some of these wrestlers and are they champions? I think she said the same for Jade too. And I was like, yep. So they figured out something and it works. All right, y'all got anything else before we get out of here?
Just thank y'all for participating and engaging in that 20 list or the top 50 list that y'all sent in.
All right, y'all, we're about to go and get some Robitussin, some NyQuil, some DayQuil, some hot toddies maybe. Eshawn representing the Pistons hoodie. We appreciate that. Lions didn't get it done, so
I want to talk about that.
That was hurt. That hurt a little bit, but what they always say is always next year. It's always next year. We'll be all right though. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Anybody that knows ball knows the reason why we lost was not just because we didn't kick field goals. That was a collective team loss. You can't catch, you can't stop anybody. That's what happens. But all good. All to the good. Thank you guys for listening. Socials. That's F&W, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. That's Freakin Wrestling. Check us out there. Subscribe. I don't ever tell you guys subscribe, but I think you guys know that. Please subscribe to the podcast, wherever you listen to it, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe, like on YouTube. It helps the algorithm and all that kind of good stuff. We'll be back on Sunday. We got to talk some AEW. We haven't really dig deep in AEW, but man, nobody's just rocking right now. And we try to keep these shows under an hour and a half. We just don't have time. And E's just going to hit us with, it sucks anyway. So I'm trying to spare him from really coming across as an AEW hater. But we're going to find something to talk about. We're going to make up something if Dynamite and Collision ain't got something. If
Clarissa Thomas can make up stuff on NFL, then we absolutely can make up something on AEW, right?
And we would talk to you on Sunday.